Hey guys, I'm back, and today we are going to be looking at my metal collection models of the Steam team specifically the Steam team from Season 8 to 8 to 21 because I haven't finished Nia and Rebecca she has been started, but I haven't done much on her body shell. But anyway, first up, we have Thomas. Okay, here's Thomas. Thomas is made with a ruby metal collection Thomas with a normal foot plate, and basically all the accessories are from the Ruby Thomas. The face is from the toy on screen. I do not remember it off the top of my head. And the snowplow is from that one All Engines Go set with Sandy. So I just unscrewed Sandy, made a cardboard piece for the buffers to slide over, cut this little slot for the brake pipe, and I covered the cardboard in super glue so it would be stiff, so it would stay together. And now it fits. And it has enough clearance for the track. So yeah. Oop. And by the way, this is the turntable piece from the barrel delivery set, which is why it's a different color from the rest of the track. I decided to use the accessories like the side rods and whistle from the Ruby Thomas because I preferred how shiny they were. And the numbers, this goes for all the engines with numbers except for James and Percy. The numbers were from Fox Transfer's LMS post-war decal sheet. I just screenshotted it and printed them out. The brake pipes are paper clips, just cut and bent. And the lamps were painted. This is a new foot plate. If you saw in my community tab, if you look at my community tab, you'll know that I turned the original Ruby foot plate into a damaged one. Because this is held together with the front screw, if you can see that. So whenever I need Thomas to have a damaged foot plate, I can just swap it out for this. The main reason I did that was because, one, there was issues with clear coating this, and two, whenever I scratched this up, it would show the shiny paint. So I decided to have this shiny silver represent cuts and scratches on his buffer beam. So yeah, put it back over here. Let me just, no. Okay, I guess I'll go in the order from least to most modified. So I guess James is next, since Thomas was just a repaint. Okay, here's James. He's just a metal collection James with black wheels, gray side rods from a spare Henry. I gave his whistle and dome a thin coat of gold paint, so the gold would just shine that much more. And I painted his footplate on his body in tender gray, painted his frames red on the top, also gave him brake pipe, black wheels if I didn't mention that. Painted the inside of his cab black, but I do need more coats. And, yeah, I think that's it. And painted that little area of his frames gray, since that's supposed to be part of the footplate. Anyway, I'll keep him back here for a comparison I'm going to do later, but fairly simple. Next up is Percy, who is pretty sad right now because I gave him a face from a capsule play rail lot I recently bought. A video is coming out soon, so yeah. He has brake pipes. I glued his side rods to his foot plate because, unlike Thomas and James, he does not have any screws. So I glued his side rods to the foot plate, and I do still need to do the silver rim on the wheels. I glued pistons on from the same spare Henry that I got this James's rods from. Yeah. No new paint, no nothing. He's already pretty good as is, though I would like, if I do repaint him, I would like to paint this entire area, the bunker, and then I would like to swap the numbers. So yeah, he looks nice though. Next up is Toby. Toby's just a repainted all engines go Toby with this little roof detail added, and then a new face. I used Milliput to extend the, you can see where it bumps up, that's where the original face was. I used that to continue the wooden planks. His numbers are printed. Back lamp is made out of Milliput. Yeah. He's pretty nice. Okay, so I'm going to go with Edward next. So here's my custom Edward, as you've all seen. You've seen him a billion times before, you already know the deal. All engines go cab, footplate, and chassis that was slightly shortened. Custom boiler and firebox. Take and play Edward smokebox. He's currently wearing an Ertl James face for some reason. And then take along Gordon tender with a freaking hero footplate and a Metal Collection hero footplate. He's pretty nice, but he could be better. Okay, next up is Edward again. Okay. Now this is my new Edward that I've been teasing for a good while on my community tab. Let's do the tender first. The tender uses an All Engines Go Edward tender body, the same one from my original Edward back at the start of this channel. He uses an All Engines Go Gordon tender footplate and chassis, since that's all I was able to find at the time when I was completing this. His wheels are from a Spare James. Tender wheels are from a Spare James. And same as the coupling. And the twos are also printed. For the main engine, he uses a Bandai Tex Edward main body, as well as the cut-up chassis from 2 Metal Collection Jameses. As you can see, I used the back half of one chassis, the front half of another, and then added the bogie from a third one. So, in short, basically, these two are from the same chassis. I just cut out where the middle wheel was. Then up here, this is where the second chassis bogie is from. His body's from a Bandai Tex / Ertl Gold Rail Edward. Completely repainted it. I'm glad I did, so I could get the shiny whistle. I used the side rods for my other Edward, which were from a Spare Ruby Thomas. And that's about it. I used Milliput to fill in the footplate so it'd be nice and smooth. Cut off the back buffers and the front buffers from the tender. And he's currently wearing his talking take along face, though whenever I get the chance, I would like to get a new 2002 Wooden Railway Edward face like this. This is literally the first face I ever painted, and it fits basically perfectly on this. Oh, I just dislike how it looks because it's so old. And I'd also like to get a tired Edward face from the Wooden Railway Edward the Great set. Here's one of the comparisons I wanted to do, because real quick, let me grab the old Edward. As you can see, the old Edward is proportioned way smaller. Sorry, James. His boiler is smaller. And because of that, he just looks... And he's shorter. Yeah, this is just definitely not my best work, but... Yeah, I'll probably keep that James. That Edward. Probably turn him into a Railway Series one, since I already added the black footplate to go with my Railway Series Thomas, but... Yeah, and here's another comparison I wanted to do. Edward and James. I'm just hoping you can see this because the thing holding my phone is like halfway into the range of view, so I'm just praying you see what I'm talking about. But you can't really tell since Edward is using the take-along face, but Edward's boiler diameter is now just 1 millimeter smaller than James's, which when I add the wooden railway face, it'll be way harder to see. So yes, they look way closer because they now share the same tender. They look more consistent. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they have the same type of chassis with the same little overhang at the front. Have the same type of tender. Yeah, that's not the only comparison I wanted to do with James, but let's move Edward. Next up, I guess I'm gonna do the one I did out of these two I made first. So next up is, actually no. Next up's Henry because he actually has a metal collection model. So here's Henry. Now, as you can see, I've yet to get more 80th wheels to use for Henry, but I used pistons from another spare 80th Henry. The side rod remains of a normal metal collection Thomas with silver paint. This side rod is made out of balsa wood with little cardboard squares. And his wheel splashes are made out of cardboard, but they're magnetic. So whenever I want to change him from the old shape to this new shape, whenever I make a new firebox, I can do that. I basically decided to make this as close to a base model as I could, so I have the top feed from the new shape, dome from the old shape, and no steam pipes, because I still want him to be distinct. I still want him to be different enough from Gordon. His chassis is a wooden railway Oliver chassis with a kind of bogey screwed in the front. I'm going to do a video on how I did that since I'm making Flying Scotsman soon. And Spencer and Rebecca. Yeah, I have a lot more of these to make, so expect a tutorial on how to do that in the future. His face. I want to get a 2003 wooden railway one. Same for James, but until I can, I'm just using their normal metal collection faces. And the side rods on the other side are made entirely out of cardboard because I ran out of balsa wood. And his tender, okay, of course it has the printed numbers. His tender is made out of a 2003 wooden railway Henry tender that was extended in width with cardboard on both sides, not on the front and back though, and an all engines go Thomas chassis that was cut down and has Kana wheels on it. So yeah, his boiler is a PVC pipe and everything else on his body is made out of cardboard. And I also have a metal collection coupling at the back. Nice. Now, here's a comparison I wanted to make. Let me get another engine so you'll see. Okay, so here's a black Henry who... Okay, I guess this is just my model of Barry the Rescue engine for the time being until I make one with a smaller boiler. As you can see, he is way too short. Way too short. His tender is passable, I guess, because, the limits of Mattel's metal collection, but still way too small. Now let's compare this Henry to James. And yeah, he's shorter, both in length and height. He's way lower on his chassis. Yeah, Now, let's compare this Henry. You can barely tell, but they're around the same height. You can barely tell because of this Henry isn't on track, but yeah. And he's He just looks way bigger. He's way longer, like he is in the TV show. And yeah. And also, by the way, one last thing. His firebox is removable for when I make his new shape. There. I do still need to fix some of the paint though, because this was acrylic and I rushed it, but whatever. Yeah. Okay. Next up's Gordon. His tender's made out of a wooden railway Gordon. All engines go Thomas chassis cut down, extended on both sides with cardboard, including the front and back this time. You can see the cardboard marks. And it uses Kano wheels. This one I used the classic Trackmaster coupling because I couldn't find another all engines go coupling. And a classic Trackmaster front coupling. And a Lego 1x1 round tile for the water filler cap. And I cut down the coal load a little bit. Here's the engine himself. Something you'll notice that I got rid of from my second video was the back wheel. I still need to find a way to do that without it falling off. His chassis is basically the exact same as Henry's. You know, wooden Thomas chassis instead with Kano bogie at the front. Since I didn't have the metal collection Henry when I made this, these are just cardboard. His pistons are cardboard. These side rods are... These are the remains of the Ruby Thomas rods that I use for Edward. And these are made out of balsa wood and cardboard like Henry. Same on the other side. And basically like Henry, his boiler is a PVC pipe. Cab is made mostly out of cardboard, except when I was remaking him, I made the sides out of balsa wood because I just wanted them to be a little more strong, and I might go back and do that on Henry. His dome is milliput. His funnel is a little... I think it's a... It was this little round thing I found just laying around in my parts drawer, and I wrapped an O-ring around it. And yeah, everything else is cardboard, milliput, and his front buffer beam is made from an All Engines Go Thomas, but I added an All Engines Go diesel, but I added square extensions on top, and then of course he has the brake pipe. His face is from a Wooden Railway 2022 Gordon, but I heavily repainted it a few years ago. And, yeah, that seems to be it. I also have his tender on a screw because since his body hangs so far off his chassis, there's less room for him to go around corners, so yeah. And I guess, as you see with James, he looks way nicer. Yeah. At this point, anything is nicer than the 2019 Gordon, so yeah. And that makes most of them done, so I guess the last one is... Okay, that makes most of them done, so that means the last one is Emily. Emily hasn't really changed since you last saw... Well, she's changed a bit, but not to the point where she's a completely different engine like Edward. So I used more spare wheels from Jane. Oh, which reminds me, these wheels on Edward, the drive wheels and bogie wheels on Edward, one of these are a Henry wheel, while the last two are James wheels. So these all came from James, and this front wheel came from a Henry. And these are the first wheels I ever spray painted, by the way. Okay, now that that's out of the way, back to Emily. Her body's made mostly out of cardboard. Her front chassis is my original Edward Tender chassis. The wheels are from James. The front bogie wheels are from James. Her big wheel is still a Tommy Thomas with the traction tire removed. Her back wheel was the last wheel from the James I used for Edward. Her boiler is, I think, a dry erase marker. Her smoke box is a wooden Railway Thomas smoke box. Her whistle is an All Engines Go Thomas. Her safety valve, I think this is a is just milliput that I sculpted. Her face is from a Take Along Emily. I want to get a better condition one so she'll have her eyebrows. Her cab and basically everything else is cardboard with milliput used to sculpt everything. I guess you could say the only change I really made to her was straightening up the lining ever so slightly, because you can tell it's still pretty messy, as well as the whistle and adding the new wheels. And last but not least, her tender. This is an All Engines Go James tender, and I did it the same way I did my Donald and Douglas tenders, more or less, except I'm confused there. Except I made an effort to have this little overhang square piece, I guess. So yeah, I basically did it the same, added 2 cardboard pieces on the side, and then started a slope with cardboard, but then cut it off, and then added cardboard to make the little shape. So yeah, and then painted it, and then she was done. And since her tender is a James tender, of course her wheels come from James too. Yeah, okay, there. The last thing I need to do is change her front coupling to a new coupling, because I didn't even notice that I put the All Engines Go coupling on her. But yeah, she's nice. I think that's it. I think I might as well show you some other. Starting off, we have Donald and Douglas. Donald and Douglas were made out of, well, okay, let's start with this. Yeah. Okay, the chassis were, you can see this is the remains of my Bombus custom from Thomas Shorts. The chassis is cut up from 2 All Engines Go engines, the back half from a, what's it called, one of the plastic engines, like, oops, and I dropped me, okay, but from one of the plastic engines like these, and then the front half from a normal Thomas, because for the normal wheel spacing. The boiler was the same PVC pipe I used for Gordon and Henry, with cardboard to shape the cardboard and milliput, as well as this being a Henry side rod, being used to shape the front side rod, the smoke box, the back wheel splasher, which you can barely see because I made it too small, and the nameplates. Their domes are made out of paint brushes, while their funnels are made out of thinner paint brushes, and same for their safety valves, though they were made with the ends of the paintbrushes so they'd be round. Their cabs are from James, though extremely modified. They were shortened and then had a square window cut out. And I think that's about it for the engine. They don't have a face yet. I plan on getting the Bandai Tex Donald and Douglas faces. And I also painted the lining on their cab. The plan, I originally had Metal Collection James faces on them, but I lost them, so now they're just faceless. Their tenders, like the Steam Team, have printed numbers and were modified like Emily, were modified from James tenders, but you can see cardboard. I added a layer of cardboard to the side. This one was thin cardboard, while on Gordon it was pretty thick cardboard. But as you can see, cardboard, and then I used it to shape this. And that's it. Printed numbers and basically completely painted black. And then as you can see, they used James wheels. Next up, I gotta grab him. Oliver, the Great Western Engine. Oliver's a weird case because he was actually the first one out of all of these I made, but whatever. His whistle or safety valve is the end of a paintbrush. His cab is an all-engine scale Percy cab, which is why it's so big. I wanted to try to incorporate it into one of my customs, but it just didn't work. It's way too big and long. I was able to kind of get away with it by painting a cab door on, but yeah, I want to redo him sometime. I don't have the silver rim because this was made before I started doing that on my customs. And basically everything in front of the all-engine scale Percy cab is cardboard. Side tanks are cardboard, the boiler's cardboard, the smoke box is cardboard. The face is from an Ertl Oliver, and the funnel is a paintbrush with an O-ring around it. And the footplate's from a diesel. The chassis is from a wooden railway Edward tender that, as you can see, I was originally going to make a wooden Percy out of. And then the back wheel, this is basically the back of the diesel I used, with small wheels glued on, and then the coupling. And then I also glued the front coupling on. Not my best custom, but certainly not my worst. Oh, you know what? Let's gonna say the next one was gonna be the last one, but then I remembered you can't have Oliver without Toad. Now, Toad was kind of rushed together. He uses a Kenji coach chassis that was slightly extended, and a Take and Play 2.0 Toad body. I just got the Toad from a flea market and saw my Kenji chassis and just thought it would be cool to do. He couples up, and though he's way shorter than Oliver, it works in my opinion. Especially because in the original show, Oliver was pretty tall since he used a BR-78 chassis like Gordon. Not to mention that, look, he's taller than Thomas, but if I get an engine like James, you can see that he doesn't break the loading gauge. Honestly, whenever I'm making push-along customs, I make sure I do not go higher than Toby. Toby is the absolute limit for how tall these engines can be. Alright, next up. Okay, next up is, I guess, version 1 of a custom, Duck. As you can see, he's just an all-engines go Duck with Thomas wheels that I have yet to paint the silver rim on, and James side rods. This is going to be a temporary Duck because this is my custom Duck. I made him around the same time as Donald and Douglas, and as you can see, he uses the same wheel spacing. The reason I stopped working on him was because I didn't know how I was going to do the side tanks, and, well, this guy came out. But I'm feeling motivated to continue working on him now, so I'm going to put these wheels on this guy, and then I have another custom idea for the remains of this guy, so don't worry, he's going to get used. And that's about it. This is made out of plastic and cardboard with two all engines go chassis combined. Foot plates combined. And then this is the same way I made Donald and Douglas. You know, normal chassis at the front. I think, yeah, this was the Nia chassis, the original Nia chassis from 2019. with the back being a plastic engine chassis. So yeah, expect updates on him on the community tab or something. Anyway, that seems to be about it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.